Uncertainty is a state of not knowing what will happen in the future. It can affect the decisions of businesses and households in the economy. In this section, we will look at how uncertainty affects the labor market by reducing hiring and investment decisions, and increasing precautionary savings and unemployment benefits. One of the main sources of uncertainty in the UK is Brexit, the process of leaving the European Union. Brexit has created uncertainty about the future trade and regulatory arrangements between the UK and the EU, as well as the impact on migration, productivity and growth. According to the Bank of England, Brexit-related uncertainty has reduced business investment by around 11% since the 2016 referendum, and has lowered UK GDP by around 1.5%. Business investment is important for the labor market because it affects the demand for workers and their productivity. When businesses are uncertain about the future, they may postpone or cancel their plans to expand, upgrade or innovate their production processes. This means they will hire fewer workers or even lay off some of their existing staff. The Office for National Statistics, ONS, reported that in December 2022 to February 2023, the estimated number of vacancies fell by 51,000 on the quarter to 1,124,000. Vacancies fell on the quarter for the 8th consecutive period and reflects uncertainty across industries, as survey respondents continue to cite economic pressures as a factor in holding back on recruitment. Uncertainty can also cause firms to postpone hiring and firing decisions and can make workers reluctant to seek new jobs. The resulting fall in labor market churn could lower productivity if it results in labor being misallocated across firms. For example, some workers may be overqualified or underqualified for their jobs, or some firms may have too many or too few workers for their output level. The ONS found that employment fell by 466,000, 1.4%, in the year ending September 2021, largely driven by younger workers. The number of workers aged 16 to 24 years fell by 201,000, and elementary occupations. The average age of those in employment has increased, with the number of younger workers, aged 16 to 34 years, falling by 2.5%, compared with the number of those aged 50 years and over falling 0.8% in the year ending September 2021. Another way that uncertainty affects the labor market is by changing the behavior of households. When households are uncertain about their future income or employment prospects, they may increase their precautionary savings and reduce their consumption spending. This can have a negative effect on aggregate demand and economic growth, which in turn can reduce the demand for labor and increase unemployment. The ONS reported that the unemployment rate for November 2022 to January 2023 was largely unchanged on the quarter at 3.7%. The number of people unemployed for over 12 months increased slightly in the latest 3-month period. The economic inactivity rate decreased by 0.2 percentage points on the quarter, to 21.3% in November 2022 to January 2023. The decrease in economic inactivity during the latest 3-month period was driven by people aged 16 to 24 years. Looking at economic inactivity by reason, the quarterly decrease was driven by people inactive because they are students or retired. Finally, uncertainty can also affect the labor market by influencing the government's fiscal policy. When there is a high level of uncertainty, the government may increase its spending on unemployment benefits or other social welfare programs to support those who lose their jobs or income. This can help to cushion the impact of uncertainty on households and stimulate aggregate demand. However, it can also increase the government's budget deficit and debt levels, which may have long-term consequences for fiscal sustainability and economic growth. In summary, uncertainty can have various effects on the labor market by reducing hiring and investment decisions, increasing precautionary savings and unemployment benefits, and affecting productivity in labor allocation. Uncertainty can be caused by various factors, such as Brexit, trade wars, pandemics, or natural disasters. Uncertainty can have both short-term and long-term implications for economic performance and well-being. Structural changes in the economy are major shifts in the way an industry or market operates, usually brought on by factors such as technological innovation, new economic developments, global shifts in the pools of capital and labor, changes in resource availability, and changes in the political landscape. These changes can affect the demand and supply of labor and the skills mismatch in various ways. On the demand side, structural changes can create new opportunities for workers with certain skills, but also reduce the demand for workers with other skills. For example, technological innovation can increase the productivity and efficiency of some sectors, such as manufacturing and information technology, but also displace workers who perform routine or repetitive tasks that can be automated. Similarly, globalization can open up new markets and sources of income for some workers, but also expose them to greater competition and lower wages from workers in other countries. Demographic shifts, such as aging populations and migration flows, can also affect the demand for labor by changing the size and composition of the workforce and the consumer preferences. On the supply side, structural changes can affect the availability and quality of labor and the skills mismatch by influencing the decisions and preferences of workers. For example, evolving work preferences may lead some workers to seek more flexible or remote work arrangements, which may not be compatible with some industries or occupations. Accelerated retirement may reduce the supply of experienced workers and create skill gaps in some sectors. Changes in resource availability, such as natural disasters or pandemics, may disrupt the normal functioning of labor markets and force some workers to leave their jobs or relocate to other areas. Changes in the political landscape, such as new laws or regulations, may affect the incentives and constraints faced by workers and employers in terms of wages, benefits, taxes, and labor standards. The skills mismatch refers to the gap between the skills that employers need and those that workers have. Structural changes in the economy can exacerbate or alleviate this gap by changing the relative demand and supply of different skills. For example, technological innovation may increase the demand for workers with high-level cognitive or digital skills, but reduce the demand for workers with low-level manual or clerical skills. This may create a surplus of low-skilled workers and a shortage of high-skilled workers, resulting in higher unemployment and lower wages for the former group and higher wages and lower unemployment for the latter group. To reduce this mismatch, workers may need to acquire new skills or upgrade their existing skills through education or training. Employers may also need to adjust their hiring criteria or provide on-the-job training to their workers. Policymakers may also need to support skill development and matching through public education systems, labor market programs, or incentives for private sector investment.